Welcome to Vlogmas Day 20. Yes, it's another eagle. Not in the regular eagle tree. I looked out and saw this bright white head showing up against the dark mountain behind it. I'm sorry if you're getting tired of seeing eagles. I personally am never tired of seeing eagles. Welcome to my Thursday. It's about 10:30. I'm just fresh out of the shower, so my hair is a little wonky. It's another wet day here, and when I woke up this morning, it was so dark, which prompted me to Google winter solstice, because I know it's around this time every year, and sure enough, it's tomorrow. So I guess that's something we have to look forward to beginning. Saturday is longer days. I really, really hate waking up in the dark. It's hard to get out of bed. So we had a nice evening last night with Jessica's family. We are not actually going to be celebrating Christmas with them until the 27th. So we thought we might let Christmas come a little early for the kids, and we brought each of them one of their small gifts. And the two older ones got books, which were apparently big hits because immediately their noses disappeared into them and we didn't hear anything from them for a while. And then Emily had a little Peppa Pig playset, so she and I were playing with that a little bit. It was a Granny and Peppa dress-up thing, so of course Grandma had to be Granny. Pardon me, I was a little reluctant to go out, but it turned out to be a really good break. And if we were there, it meant we didn't have to be wrapping, but we did tackle that again when we got home. And I think all that's left to do are a couple of birthday gifts, and those aren't needed until the 29th. So I'll probably get them done sometime today just so I can be finished, but the bulk of it is all finished, so that's a relief to get that off my list. So when I couldn't take it anymore, I put down the wrapping paper and I worked on my adventurous wrap. So and then I picked it up again this morning. So I did finish the yellow section that I was working on yesterday. That's right here. It's getting so long, it's all bunched up on the needles, but that's how that looks. And all the colors I think on here, I think there's two more colors to go, and they are both kind of purpley ones. There's I think this one comes next, and I think it might be this one. So definitely going towards the purples and should hopefully blend in with the other side. I also, this morning, so I was going to let myself knit to 9 o'clock, and I finished this section basically right at 9. But then I just couldn't resist casting on the next color on the other side, and so I knit 2 rows of that. The truth is I'm procrastinating because the day has finally arrived to clean my office. Now, normally if we have people over, I just close my office door. However, it is going to be used this year as a place to, the camera just fell and I caught it just before it hit the floor, thankfully. Anyway, as I was saying, normally if we have people over, I just close my office door and hide the mess. But we're going to need it at Christmas. We're going to use it to serve the food from. Did this a couple of years ago and it worked out really well. That particular room is just across the hall from the kitchen, and I set up a number of different crock pots. Both my sister and I have a unit that has 3 crock pots in it in a row. And then I have a really big one I use for the potatoes. And so people can just take their plate and fill it and come back to the table. Our final count is we have 21 here for Christmas, 20 of whom will be eating turkey dinner. My little 2-month-old great nephew will not be, I'm quite sure. So I can manage, I'll have room, it's tight, but I have room to set up 3 tables in the kitchen dining room area. But it just makes it a lot easier if people take their plate and go get their food and come back. I always say I like my hot food hot and my cold food cold. So I like to keep food hot. So I really don't love serving food into dishes and putting them on the table because they don't stay hot for seconds. This way everything is just as hot the second go round. And I can also prepare some of the things ahead of time and then just keep them hot in that room. So it helps that too. So anyway, I knew this day was coming and it's here. So that's my job for today, is to clean out my office, which will not make for very riveting Vlogmas, but you never know what might pop up. The way my days have been going, there could be any number of surprises in store for you. So I'll check in with you later. Can't put it off anymore. Wish me luck. I'm sure I am not the only person to find that once I start cleaning a room, one thing leads to another, to another, to another. And sometimes more than one room is involved. These things sitting on the shelf here, until about a half an hour ago, some of them resided on my kitchen windowsill. So these 4 items used to live in my kitchen. And then I had added this bird candle that Jess gave me a few years ago, and then I finally found the right spot for this. It's like a hot wax diffuser, like a Scentsy thing. That seems to go there, and it goes with the wildlife. This is a local artist, and this is a local lake. And then there's my mountain view. You've seen that many times. Mount Sham. Oh, and there's Sham right there. I have quite a collection of blue and white treasures that I've collected or been given over the years. And they used to live on various shelves in my kitchen, but when we renovated a few years ago, I didn't have a place to put them anymore, and so they ended up on that shelf I just showed you in my office, just as a place for safekeeping. And until maybe a month ago, I had plants on this windowsill. This is the window above my kitchen sink. And I'm a plant killer, and I finally gave up. And so it occurred to me when I started dusting off that shelf in my office that this would be a good place to put all my little treasures. And so this is a vase that I bought in Portugal, and this is a tile. I think that's where my mom got it from too, because we saw that type of thing all over the place in Portugal. And then this is a cream and sugar from the old hotel in Barkerville, and if you're from BC, you'll know that Barkerville is a historic site. It used to be an old gold rush town, and they were selling off their old dishes, and I thought that would make a neat keepsake. I've been there a number of times, both just with Cameron and with the kids too. And in fact, we went there on our honeymoon, so I thought that was a really neat keepsake to have. This is nothing special other than it looks nice in here, all the right colors. I think Jessica gave that to me actually a few years ago. And I love these little miniature cups and saucers and thimble. That was from my sister Allison. And Anna Marie gave me this tea strainer thing with the beads on it, and it's got a little teapot at the end. And I think this, if I remember right, I think this thimble came from Europe. It was also a gift, I think probably from Allison. And then just a nice candle. So I'm happy to find a spot for them. And while I was at it, I washed off the windowsill and cleaned the window. So there you go. And if you can see, out there, the wind is really starting to pick up. Cameron phoned me a little while ago and told me that it was very windy where he was, about an hour west of here, and in fact the freeway between our next city over and here apparently had been closed for a while, although it was open when I talked to him. So I had a feeling the weather was coming. It tends to come from the west, and they'd had power outages at several of their stores. So I am going to make tea and put it in a thermal cup and make my lunch right now, just in case I lose power. So moving right along, I haven't really actually gleaned a whole lot more, but I did hang a couple of pictures. So this is my husband's Christmas gift from work this year. After you reach a certain number of years of service, you get either a picture or a figurine. So he chose the picture this year. I just love it, and I can't say I'm sorry that the only place it really worked in our house was in my office. So very thrilled to put that there, and it will replace, here's my desk. I am not going to scroll down because the top of my desk is an absolute mess, but I did dust and clean up this part, and it replaces this picture, which is the same artist as I showed you before, and this is another local lake. So yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with my new look in here between the pictures and the shelf. And now I've got to get down to the nitty-gritty because it's all over the floor and every surface that it can possibly be on. Are there times you just want to kind of kick yourself for not getting around to something sooner? So I've had this big bulky package sitting on my file cabinet in the office for ages. Probably going on a couple years, I would guess. And what it contained was this portable wireless stereo speaker. I think Cameron won it in a golf tournament or something, and we really didn't know what to do with it. Offered it to the kids, no one was interested. But being the technologically challenged people that we are, we saw that it said a Bluetooth on it, and so we assumed it could only be used with our cell phones. And until sometime this year, I think it was, I didn't even have a smartphone. Neither of us have music on our phones. I have an iPod that I have all my music on. So we both assumed this was kind of useless to us. So now that I have a smartphone, I figured, well, I should take it out and take a look at it, and maybe it's something I can use. Well, I wish I had done so sooner, because what I discovered is it's actually just like a little portable speaker. There's my hand, which is not very big, so it gives you reference. And it's actually similar to something we already own, but what we have is kind of like a little promo item from a automotive filter company. So this is probably a much better quality. And I can just, like the other one, just plug my iPod right into it using an auxiliary cable. And this one on the box says you can charge it up to 5 hours. And if we'd only known. So what I'm actually going to do with this one is I'm going to go plug it in to an outlet in my craft room and put it on my sewing table, and then I can have music in there instead of putting my iPod into the Bose in the living room and cranking it so I can hear it. So I should clean my office more often. I think that's the moral of this story. We're getting some quite strong winds now. I just fixed that little net thing on the bottom of the bird feeder, and I'm about to go take it right off before it actually blows away. You can see and hear those trees a couple of doors over. The one on the left started leaning, I think it was 2 years ago after this ice storm. Looks like it could go at some point. The trees over there are getting blown around pretty good too. Oh, and the neighbor's awning's being kind of ripped apart. Oh, that's too bad. Our poor little hedges, I hope they stay up. As you may be able to tell by the neighbor's tree in the background, the wind is still blowing here, but there's a little bit of sun that's trying to peek through. Cameron said that 3 of the stores he oversees are without power, one for over 4 hours. So I was thinking maybe I should think about wrapping up Vlogmas Day 20, getting this processed and uploaded before the same thing happens here. We are going to the curling rink this evening. I am not curling today, but I'm going to join my team for dinner, and Cameron's curling at 6:45. So because it's the last night before the holidays, they'll probably just play a short game, and then everyone brings appies to share after. So it should be a pleasant evening. I did not get as much done in my office today as I was hoping. I kept getting distracted. Shocker, I know. But when all's said and done today, probably all that'll be left to do is my desk. And I'm a real clutter collector of receipts and bills and knitting patterns, things like that. But I don't have to have it done until Christmas. So tomorrow I'll probably focus on things like dusting and vacuuming and bathrooms because my mom's coming. I want to make sure her room and everything else is ready for company, but I should have no trouble getting this done before Christmas itself. So anyway, have a great evening. I hope it's warm and dry and not windy where you are.